Alright, so we're back in the shop. I went down to my brother's house. I've changed the settings yet again. I've actually returned the settings on this microphone to the original settings that I filmed approximately 175 videos with these settings, and nobody ever said a word. Now it's a mixed bag. Some people say it's fantastic. Some people say it's so quiet they can't hear it. Blah blah blah. I really don't know. Some people are saying it's fine, that there's nothing I can do on my end, that everybody's watching on different, Matt J said this, a few other people have said it, that everybody's watching on different devices, whether it's their laptop, surround sound in their house, their iPhone, their Android, their Mac, their PC, their Windows 95, whatever it is. So each one of them's got a different speaker arrangement. So for some people it might be really loud. For other people it's fine. I don't know. I just find it odd that it's kind of cropped up here in the last, I don't know, 6 months or so. It just seems strange, and I don't know, because I filmed a lot of videos with the setup I'm using now before anybody ever said a word. Now, either everybody's just extremely polite, which I've found not to be the case on the internet, or it's a recent development, and it very well could be something to do with YouTube, because I've heard rumors that YouTube is doing weird stuff. I don't know. I'm going to record it, this video anyway. The video before this is going to be set to a higher level. So let me know what it sounds like. This video is going to be back to my factory settings, what I always filmed it on. But this video, I'm going to go into this other program that I have, and I'm going to bump the audio level up probably about 50% and see what that does. If that works and there's no complaints, then we'll just try that out for a little while. But anyway, what are we doing? Why are we in here? Why is it so damn cold? I don't know. Many questions, very little answers. But behind me, what? Brittany says Shackleton. She's referring to Ernest Shackleton. Wasn't even this cold in Antarctica, Brittany? Okay, anyway. If you'll notice behind me, you'll see a 1990s Chevrolet door, okay? Some kids call it an OBS, okay? And apparently Fords are now allowed to be called OBSs if they were made in the 90s. I strongly disagree with this. But regardless, that's not what we're here to talk about. So we're going to move this out of the way. And the good thing about 90s model Chevrolet doors is they're heavy as literal lead. And that's so that they'll sag. But the good news is Chevrolet welded the hinges to the cab. So it's real easy to just fix it real quick. And I know what you're saying. Just buy new bushings directly, traveler. Don't be a pansy. Well, you know, the good news is the bushings, unless you want to pay a literal arm and a leg, are trash. Are you going to stand up right there? This is going to go on my other 90 model Chevrolet. Different project, different time. I have clipped the microphone closer to my mouth. So if you hear me breathing, not much I can do about that. Anyway, if you'll notice behind me, you have what some would refer to as a truckload of scrap iron. The people that would say that are uneducated and they should read a book, educate themselves, okay? What we have behind me is some classic Americana is what we got. This is a heaping load of blacksmithing BS. As I mentioned before, there was a time where I was quite into blacksmithing. Mild. Alright? So during that time, I acquired a lot of shit made out of cast iron. Okay? There's a lot of stuff in here. This is a sick ass Prairie number 5 grinding stone. Clamp variety. This is where you gotta have a kid so that he can turn it for you. And somebody horribly out of true. I need to turn the stone down. But this is a circa vintage. Still got the sticker on it. See that right there? I don't know if you can see it because it says the. You probably can actually because the light is horrendous. I've got a couple. I think one bulb. This one's missing a bulb. I'm gonna have to address some of that. But anyway, this is a circa vintage. Clamp it on the side of your bench, and It's good for little stuff. When you need to touch up something, you don't want to overheat it. That's really what these are good for. You want to sharpen a knife or something. You get Brittany over there turning it. That way you don't overheat your blade and lose your temper. Anyway, we got one of these bad boys. I'm just basically going to show you this whole heaping pile of crap because a lot of it's pretty nifty stuff. Some of it's pretty rare stuff. Where is that? Let me grab a light real quick. I got a different light and it might help the light. This one's a pretty bright light, so I'll put it off over here to the side and it might interject a little bit of trying to rearrange stuff in here in the shop and whatnot. Will that help it any? Yeah, so that's added a little bit more light to the situation. So we'll move you over here a little bit closer to it. It's going to be a little grainy. I've got to figure out, I might need to put a couple lights up high that are angled a little bit. I could add more lights in here. It's kind of got the bare minimum of lights right now. But that's a different project for a different day. You guessed it. All right, now we got another one of those hand grinders. This one's a Buddha Liberty. You probably can't see it, but it says Buddha Liberty Special Grinder, the Buddha Company, Harvey, Illinois, USA. All right, same basic principle. This one's missing an ear off of its clamper here. It's missing its little wood handle, but I can fashion one of those. This sucker right here is bad to the bone. All right, that's bad to the bone. All right, circa vintage. It's kind of stuff you want your blacksmith shit in your smithy. All right. Now this is a very special thing, and I've never seen another one. And the Regulate Traveler obtained this one quite a while ago. And what this is a blacksmith blower. And you're like, well, that's not that special, Regulate Traveler. Lots of people have blacksmith blowers. That's true. They do. They don't have this one, though. This one was made in Georgia. Okay? Georgia. Most of this stuff was made up north, like I told you in a previous video. Post-Civil War South, we didn't make a whole lot down here. A lot of cast iron stuff. Stoves, cast iron pans, things like that. Dixie Tool Works, which made a lot of hooks and logging implements, axes, cant hooks, stuff like that, peavies, and shit like that. There wasn't a whole lot of other manufacturing. That's why most heavy tool and die and machinery stuff is all made up north. New York, Wisconsin, Chicago, stuff like that. This one is a Georgia Duster Co., Walnut Grove, Georgia. Patent pending, all right? Now, it was missing its original handle. And this was a handle that I happened to have that was about the right vintage. And ex-friend of ours brazed it on here, and I'm going to unbraze it because he did it crooked as a dog's leg, and it doesn't look quite right. So I'm thinking about brazing this off, heating it back up, getting this off so that we can maybe do it a different way. But either way, that's really not the point. I'm not ever really going to use this for anything other than just say I've got a blower from Georgia, which is really the main thing about it, because it is sick. I doubt you can see it, but I'll show it to you anyway. It's heavy as lead because it's made out of cast iron. Brittany's giving me directions. And right there is Walnut Grove, Georgia. So it's a pretty nifty piece right here. I've never seen another one. I think when I researched it, I couldn't find very much about it. So I don't know how long they made them or how many they made. Now, for the inquisitive among you, you'll notice that this is a forge. There's two forges in here. Both of them are coal forges. This, I don't actually think has a maker's mark on it, which is highly unusual because most of these, whether it be Champion or Buddha or any of the other makers that were common back in the day, most of them put their name all over them. This one I don't think has a name on it, but I could be wrong. I'll have to look when I get it out. But this is an older style forge. It's not really the most practical. It's not something you're going to use a lot. I got this one because it actually came in a package deal with some other stuff. But it runs on a leather belt. I'll show you how it works here in a second once I get it down, but it's kind of heavy. You're probably going to hear the microphone make a bunch of noises. Oh! God! Alright. Damn thing's heavy. It's all cast and steel. Alright. So, there's a lot of fighting on the Blacksmith forums and stuff. They'll tell you have to clay line these cast iron pans. They'll tell you have to because it absorbs heat and helps keep this from getting too hot and potentially cracking. Other guys will tell you that's absolute BS. You don't have to. You can just run them with nothing. And I think that's a little bit true of both. If you're going to use the forge for 8 hours a day, you probably should use the clay. And you probably should use the clay just to be safe. But this is how this one works if I can get it to cooperate. It's actually a pretty nifty ratcheting mechanism right here. It ratchets back. It's got almost like a clutch mechanism that lets it ratchet back. And then when you pull it, it engages. It's a one-way, I guess it's like a one-way clutch type thing. It allows it to slip one direction and bite the other way. It works better at a certain angle right here. So this is probably loud for some of y'all. But anyway, basically you build your fire right in here. In the fire pod area right here, there's a bunch of leaves and crap in here. Build it right there. And just like anything else, like a bellows or like a hand blower, you just do this and it blows air straight up from the bottom. This is a very common style forge. Like I say, I got this one as a package deal. I didn't even really want it, but it's nifty. It's a cool piece. And it's actually in pretty good shape. I think it's got one of the pieces on the flywheel, I think, is cracked. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's nifty. It's got the little door down here on your, lets coal out right there. There's still coal in it. And it's just a neat little piece. I'm unloading this stuff in here just so that y'all can see it. Most of it's going to go out in the other area of the building, but I wanted y'all to be able to see it. And once I unload it in there, it'll be harder for y'all to see it because there's crap everywhere. This is a boat anchor. And I know there's, ooh, exciting, Wrigley Traveler. Well, this one's vintage as hell. And it's from Roll-Off Manufacturing Corporation. Kaukauna, Wisconsin. Which, if you're in Kaukauna, Wisconsin, and you're like, that's not how you say that, Wrigley Traveler. Well, I'm sorry. I don't know how you say Kaukauna, Wisconsin. All right, but that's what it is. It's just a classic boat anchor. It's pretty nifty. All right. Moving right along. This is a bucket of coal. This is what you get every year when you're the Wrigley Traveler. Every year after year, you get coal.
Not true.
Brittany says it's not true, but I say it's true. Coal, all right? I had to dig that out of the other forge so that I could get it in here without spilling everywhere. And this is self-explanatory. Oil bottle, all right? let's see. We're going to try to fight some of this out in somewhat of an order. There we go. This is for turkeys and shit, or you can use it to cook on other stuff besides turkeys. This is one of the very first things I ever blacksmith, which is a very crudely made coal rake for the forge. Although the loopy loop down here is not that bad, but you can use that to rake coals with. I made it excessively too long. This was early days, so shut up, okay? This is actually handy. I'm not sure if it works, but we can try it out another day. Now, in here, there's a bunch of stuff. So this was a pipe hanger that came out of the Canton Cotton Mill in Canton, Georgia. And I ended up with a bunch of these. Nothing really special about it other than that it came from the Canton Cotton Mill, which was kind of a big deal in Canton, Georgia. Incidentally enough, they originally named Canton, Georgia, after Canton, China, because there was this brief period of time where they thought that they were going to grow silkworms there, and they planted a lot of trees to try to grow silkworms. And it turns out like the climate and the soil is different from China, which a lot of people found very surprising. And so no silk out of Canton, Georgia. Eventually a pretty large cotton mill, but they kept the name Canton. All right, but anyway, so you got some of that in here. Got a little tiny vise, little tiny bench vise right here, pretty nifty piece. And just some random crap that I dicked around with back in the past. This is a hardy tool that I made. This is a piece of a Frick sawmill axle shaft that I forged down for a hardy tool. Sometimes you need a little different tools for the hardy hole. There's just kind of random crap like that in here, nothing really that important. It's a crude toolbox I made years ago. Let's see. This is a seat off of a snapper lawnmower. And if you're sitting there wondering, snapper lawnmowers originated in the great state of Georgia. I think sometime in the late 50s. One of the few things we manufactured in the heart of the South. But snappers, they're not the best mower, but they'll cut the grass, you know. Not sure what I'm going to do with that, but it's in here. Come on, let go. This is also just a piece of scrap iron, but we could make it tabletop for it since it's an on table base. But it'd also be handy to make a table for in here, maybe use it for something. I don't know. It'll end up outside, and if I don't come up with something to do with it the next 20 years, then it'll probably be scrap. The rest of it's going to be a bit of a pain in the arse, as our British friends would say, to get out, because the rest of it's quite heavy. Obviously, circa vintage boat tank. This is this has got coal in it. Once again, I've gotten a lot of coal for Christmas. So that's what this is.
How am I supposed to help you?
It ain't gonna hurt nothing. Alright, so now we gotta fight out. This is a forge blower, that's a forge blower, this is a forge over here in front of me. This is a Willys truck drive shaft. And an intact one. It's got the yoke and everything on it. So I've got 2 of these that aren't in trucks. They should be worth a fairly decent amount because, as far as I know, you can't buy the damn things. And I've seen a lot of Willys trucks with these bad boys right here bent all to hell. And this one's actually pretty nice and straight. So clean it up, paint it, might end up selling it. I don't know. If you need a Willys truck drive shaft, let the Regulate Traveler know. I might hook you up. If I ain't got to clean it up, we might come out with a deal, you know. But that's what that is. This is nothing special, just a piece of metal. This is the shaft out of I believe this is the one that's out of a Frick sawmill. I think it was a Frick number 2. This is it's a very solid steel. It's good steel. My plan for this, always and still, is I'd like to forge an axe head out of it. And, because it should be fairly good steel. And it doesn't have to be an axe head to use for 200 years or nothing, but I think it'd be a pretty nifty piece. Oh. We'll just throw that stuff outside right now. Here's some more Willys drive shafts. These are off of I think 2 of them are off a Jeep. Well, actually, all 3 of them are off a regular Jeep. All right, this bad boy right here. Me and my brother were trying to figure out where this one came from, because I don't actually remember where this one came from. But this one's a Buffalo Forging Co. Climax. Yeah, that's right. And it's from Buffalo, New York. Oh, what? That's what this one is. This one's still got some of the original paint on it over here. And these are beautiful painted up. I'd really like to restore one to its like factory colors and everything. And I've got the books to look them up, and I can date what year this is and everything, but these are just nifty. They look real cool. Buffalo, Champion. There were several of them, but Buffalo and Champion were 2 of the biggest ones. This one's a Champion. And if I remember right, when I got these, I looked these up, and I think these were from around, I think they were from 1900 to 1905. That's what I think. I think they are. See, this one's a Champion. It's got a different base on it. And basically, it's where you could have more of a mobile forge set up. You turn that right there, and it blows air out. This one's been repaired in the past. It appears as though it knocked over and it broke this entire housing off of it, and somebody brazed it back on. Which I'm glad they did, because it adds character to the unit, and it kept it intact. I bought 2 of these identical ones from a World War II veteran who served in the South Pacific. And he told me the story about how when he was down there, he was having to climb I think he said it was a radio tower. And I hope my beard's not tickling this microphone, which it very well could have been. Anyway, he was climbing a radio tower, and on the way back down, I think he said a piece of metal broke loose, and it hit him in the top of the head and split his head open. And he said he fell off the tower onto the ground, and the other guys picked him up, and he said they actually were able to sew his scalp back together before he regained consciousness. And they didn't even have to give him any anesthesia. And he was telling me this when he was like 90. This was years ago, so I think he was 90 or 91 when he was telling me this, and this had to have been quite a while ago. I mean, like probably 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago. But he was an interesting old man. Had a big wad of chewing tobacco in his mouth, walking along with his cane. And he said he had a real nice anvil, but somebody stole it, and they stole. I think he said he had a forge, and they stole it, but they didn't take this blower because they were kind of hidden. But there were two. These are champion geared blower, and it's Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Champion Forge and Blower Company, and this is a #1. And that's what the other one is. I already got one of them here. It's outside. So this is a #1. Like I say, this is, I believe this is from 1900 to like 1905 or something. So, you know, it's fairly old. You know, it's well over 100 years old. See if I can get it down without breaking it. Oh, boy. It's weird being into just antiquated crap all the time because most people think it's interesting, and then the other most people don't give a damn. So now this is the one that's actually fairly special. This forge belonged to my great grandfather, who was a horrible human being by all accounts. But I suspect it probably belonged to his father. So it very well could be my great-great-grandfather's, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if the great-great-granddaddy was an ass clown. I don't know, but the great-grandfather was, by all accounts, a horrible human being. Which would make sense given the side of the family he was on. But anyway, that's a different story. If we can get this out of here. This is a pot. This sucker's heavy as lead. So this is a self-contained forge and blower combo. Alright, so this sucker is circa vintage. It's got a bad crack running down the center of it, and it's actually spread on over to this side, which is unfortunate. But it was like this the whole time my grandfather had it. It's probably been like this for 100 years or so. Now that could be a heat crack where they let it get too hot, and sometimes when you're forging you have to put a little water on it to control the fire where it's going. And they might have had this sucker just boiling red, and then they slapped some water on it, which caused it to crack. Or it could be that they left it out in the rain and let it pit up, or let it fill full of water, and it froze and busted it. I don't know. It's one or the other. I would like to clay line this one for sure before I used it much more, because it's going to crack, split in half. We actually repaired it over here, me and my brother did, and it probably wouldn't hurt to go ahead and do it on this side, because the cracks run almost up this wall, and it cracked on this side, and it's right in line with that crack. So probably could, all we did was drill 2 holes in it and then put a strap to hold it together, and probably do that on this side, and then clay it. Now this is a road sign they attach to it to keep the heat off your hands while you're running the blower. This one's a Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It says Lancaster geared blower, and let's see, Champion Blower and Forge Company, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and this is a model number 40. That's what this one is. So I'm not sure the year range on this one. I've never looked at it. Looked it up. But it's heavy as hell. And I'm kind of disturbed to see this crack forming in it on this side, because it's always been on this side of the firebox. So but it's, you know, it's old as hell, and somebody let it sit outside and it's pitted real bad, so it might end up being retired. I don't know. But either way, I got it now. I'm not sure how the hell to pick this thing up because it's all the weight's on one side of it, which makes it unpleasant to pick up. I'm going to take the microphone off for just a second because it's probably going to make a bunch of noise. It's going to make a bunch of noise. Okay. Thank you, Brittany. Like I say, this one's been in my family. Well, my grandfather died when he was 90. And so it had been in the family his whole life. So, and I think allegedly it belonged to his father. I never asked him about it. And the person that told me that it belonged to his grandfather is about as trustworthy as a fart after eating Taco Bell. So there's no way of knowing. I just know it's been in the family a long damn time. And I know my grandfather didn't buy it. So I know that. And I know it had the original anvil with it. But that ended up going somewhere else that it has no damn business being. But I was too young to do anything about that. And you better damn believe the Regulate Traveler would have come unglued if I was old enough to have been aware of what kind of shenanigans were going on. Anyway, there's no point rehashing old wounds. There's no way the Regulate Traveler would still have an attitude about them. Anyway, I got this though. Now, these springs right here, these are off of a mobile home, only of the finest quality. The springs are extremely high quality steel because, you know, you got to take care of the home, cushion ride, you know, on your single wide. I used them to make cant hooks and shit like that out of, and they're remarkably good steel. Like I say, this is I think this is probably a CJ2A drive shaft. And then we got a couple partials back here. Missing the yoke here on the end. It's got the ancient style U-joint on it, where it's got the strap running sideways on it. Needs just a little bit of lube. Couple of those. This all came like mixed with different Jeeps I got. And just on the side note while we're talking about it, this is a Leshy shovel. And if you go online, there's two different Leshy shovels because it was a father-son outfit, but then they had like a messy divorce or some shit. And so now there's like a Leshy and then a Leshy. And God forbid if you're ever at a metal detecting show and you accidentally ask the wrong Leshy about the Leshy. I'm dead serious. I know this just sounds like some drug, but I'm dead serious. I was buying a shovel like this at a metal detecting show in Virginia, and I made the mistake of saying, like, I got this one shovel called a Leshy something other, and he's like, yep, that's not us. That's the fake Leshy. And by fake Leshy, he meant his father. Okay, so I get it. You know, daddy issues. You know, anyway, but this is one. I didn't like the shovel worth a damn. It didn't dig. It's curved. It's certainly not worth like $200. But it's made out of aircraft steel. So you know it's good. This is a drum full of burnt motor oil. And you're probably sitting there wondering, Regulate Traveler, why would you have a drum of burnt motor oil? Well, when you're blacksmithing, all right, read a book, all right? When you blacksmith certain shit, you quench an earl, okay? Slows down the process so we don't harden it too much. It's science, all right? That's what this is. And a lot of it's going to end up in the frame of the CJ5, all right? That's where it's going to end up because we don't need it rusting. And this is just an empty barrel. It ain't got diddly dick in it, all right? Nothing. Thank you, Miss Brittany. These bad boys we're going to sling out here in the yard. We'll arrange them in the daylight hours. And that's a diaphragm clutch off of a Dauntless V6. And don't get me started on that crap. We're going to get started on it again, but we got to get some other stuff done at some point. This is a hardy stick that I was whittling years ago with a draw knife. I think I was whittling it down to make a cant hook handle. Not sure what kind of wood it is, but got it too. Oh. But yeah, so basically I just wanted to show you that the Regulate Traveler's into lots of different things, and it evolves over time. Sometimes it's been Jeeps for quite a while. It was metal detecting for a long time. And it's not that I don't want to metal detect anymore. It's just that it's an uphill sport, all right? You go, you dig hundreds and hundreds of holes, you find nothing. You feel sad, you wonder why you're walking around like an asshole in a field, digging holes. And then every now and then you find some sick stuff, and I have found some sick stuff. And I one day will show it to you, because some of it's pretty impressive. And how you know it's good, one more story. How you know something's good when you're metal detecting. Okay. How you know is how mad the other people with metal detectors get. That's how you know if it's good. So the last time I was in Virginia, there was probably 200 men out there metal detecting, beep beep boop bop, beep boop bop, you know. And they were trying to find stuff, and I'm out there trying to find stuff, and here I am, just a country boy from Georgia who drove all the way up to Virginia, you know. And I got up there, and well, the problem is I'm damn good with a metal detector. So I get up there, don't find a whole lot, but what I found was the only thing worth finding. I found a solid gold ring that was custom handmade and inscribed on the inside, and it belonged. Later on, I found out through. It's quite a long story. I think I might have told this before, but anyway. Stonewall Jackson had a cavalry commander named Turner Ashby. He was a badass, all right? He died pretty early in the war. He died before Stonewall Jackson did. Turner Ashby had a sister named Elizabeth Ashby. I think she went by Betty, though. Anyway, this ring that I found belonged to her. It was her wedding ring. And it had her husband's initials, which his name was Green was his last name. I think it was George Green, and her name initials are B.A. in there, which would be Betty Ashby, Elizabeth Ashby. And then it's got the date, which I believe was 1848 when she was married, and it's hand carved inside the ring. Well, when I found this up there in that field in Virginia, I was pretty stoked about it, because if you've ever metal detected, you find gold in the ground, it's a pretty good time every time. Nobody's sad when they find gold. Nobody up there, not one man, and all of them knew I'd found it because you posted it on a Facebook page related to the hunt, and I posted it on there later. Not one of them said a word to me. In fact, they all gave me filthy looks. Filthy looks. And that's how I knew that I'd done a good job. That's how I knew that. And then I took my happy ass back to Georgia, and I've got it to this day. and it ended up being in North South Trader magazine. Had a kind of an article in it about it. And then it was on the cover, the 100th issue of American Digger magazine. It was on the cover of it, right in the center. And then it was in that one simultaneously. And if you're into metal detecting, these are really the two largest metal detecting magazines. I don't brag a whole lot, but this is something I'm actually proud of, so I'm going to low-key brag about it. It's one of the best things I've ever found. It's the best thing I've ever found to date. I've found some pretty good shit. Anyway, so that's everything, all the prizes in here. So, hope you won't mind the static camera work here, but it's just easier to set you up. But yeah, so basically, back to this. And then we'll wrap it up. So, you build your FAR right here, okay? And you get one of your 15 children to get over here and they turn this, which blows air out of the center. Let's see, where's a... Some of you may have never seen a blacksmith forge, so it might be new to you. I'll take this paper towel and show you. You lay this on top of the hole right there. It blows it around is what I'm trying to show you, but this rag's wet. So anyway, that's how it works. It keeps the fire going. But like I say, this one needs some more attention. Might have to do that. Put another strap down here on the bottom or something. Shore it back up. And then I've never actually clayed one, so I need to figure out how to do that. I'm sure there's a YouTube video about it. But I'm sure this is loud for some of you, but I don't know what you want me to do. Doing the best I can. If you want something better, you're gonna have to call up Steven Spielberg, Alfred Hitchcock, or whatever. These were stove up when I first got them, by the way. And I got them on the stove. Yeah. All right. I'm planning on doing some light-duty blacksmith videos. Because it is vintage, it falls in the history category, and I think some of y'all might get a kick out of it. That was the wrong thing I was trying to adjust there. I think some of you might get a kick out of it, so I might show you that. And there's some stuff that I'd like to blacksmith for the Willys truck. But anyway, I am the Regulate Traveler. This video will probably be posted way after I film it because I'm having trouble downloading videos, but I'm hoping to get that rectified in the near future. I love you all deeply. Thank you for subscribing. Please keep commenting. Like I say, this is on factory, the way I filmed all my videos. We're going to bump it up in this kind of post-production thing, see if that helps it. And remember to put that in the comments. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see the Regulate Traveler do some blacksmithing. All right. Heat it and beat it. All right. Get it? Yeah, buddy.